Hello, hello. Whoa. Yep. Hi, everybody. Did y'all see that, like, one frame? That was so funny. Hey, Bappy. Hey, Ratty. How are y'all doing today? Hopefully well. How are y'all? I am up. I'm awake. That's about it. Another late night, and then I woke up early, and then I just couldn't fall back to sleep. So, yeah, good. I'm glad you're doing well on this last day of September. Was a bit sick today, so you decided to miss work. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you feel better. Are you drinking lots of liquids and eating food, making sure you're eating some kind of food, staying bed rest, that whole thing? Hopefully you're taking care of yourself. Yeah, not too severe. Yeah, but those are the ones that you want to make sure you nip in the bud early. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, Foxy, how you doing? Because, like, a 24-hour cold could become a week-long cold if you don't, like, if you try to push through it. Which is why I'm always an advocate of, like, even if you're not feeling super great, you know, it's important to give yourself rest so that by the time you wake up the next day, you're fine. Foxy's just saying, like, being like, ha ha ha, and then just a single tear rolls down their cheek. But yeah, no, I'm just tired today. But yeah, cooking Mama Dodo. This is from we played Arctic Eggs, which is just like this weird cooking game that had like oddly like resonating statements in it. I was not expecting to have what was it? It was pandering as erosion was one, and picking something impossible as a goal is a way not to face failure. And I'm just like, bro, I'm just want to play this weird cooking game. Why is this trying to make me feel? But that's why there's a cigarette in there. Because that's the only, like, I try my best when making costumes and interactions and stuff, it to be somewhat relevant to the game that we're playing, obviously, but like it's hard to do that without spoiling yourself. So I in like the trailer there was cigarettes in there, so we're doing it. Yeah. The timing was impeccable, Star. But yeah, so it so we still have that going on for today, for those that weren't able to play with it as when we were playing it on Sunday. So feel free to redeem and mess with it as much as you want today. And then we'll go back to the usual, like, everyone can switch it around kind of deal, but we probably won't have that interaction because it doesn't play well with other costumes. Right? Yeah, like it's like how would you cook? How would you cook the cigarette? For a while I was like, I don't, in the game at least, it's just something that's in the way. You have to keep it in there while also mixing everything else in there. The fact that the clip that that Piranha made on Sunday, where I didn't have the code. Oh, that's a good intro to coding to at least a certain degree. If we look here, so whoop, 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 whoop. If we look here on our actions, I can show you exactly how this works, because why not, right? As far as what this does, when you redeem the thing. You have 2 Mama Dodos that are bald? What do you mean by that? Who's the second one? Who's the second one, huh? Who's the other bald Mama Dodo? So every message I type will 5 minutes later a time capsule. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've never been able to find how to reduce the delay. It was event, and it was check under the chef's hat. So look at this. So this, it's like it randomly chooses between 7 different hats with different sound bites for each one that like make certain things visible and invisible. So that's why it doesn't play well with other costumes, because it pulls up a completely different thing. And if we look here, plush Mama Dodo without a hat. Oh, true. So look at all these. This is what happens when you redeem it. It pops over to one of these other 7 other ones, and then it pops back. You want to see the It's a Me one again? Well, you're just gonna have to get lucky. But what I could do, just for you, I could just switch real quick. Boop. This is the It's a Me one. Oh gosh. All right, enjoy your food, Bappy. And then, hopefully it's delicious. Yeah, a lot of the, so in total, there was, totally not Remy the Rat, it's Timmy the Mouse. It's Timmy the Mouse. Egg, gotta have egg. Gotta have egg. There's no way for us not to have the egg redeemed to be mentioned during this situation. Solid egg. Snake. So the box is this solid snake in there. Dodoception, that's the one that you love, Ratty, where it's Mama Dodo under there, so it's a dodo and a dodo. and then Mogception, where one of them was supposed to be Mama Dodo mewing. Which one was it? It was this one. Yeah, this one's supposed to be Mama Dodo mewing. Why I wanted to do that one, I have no idea. I just thought it was funny. I was like, I want to make 7. I want to make 7 of them. Hey, Dragon, how you doing? All right, Star, thanks for stopping by. Wonderful having you. Hope you have a good one. And then Bald. We gotta have a Bald. And then finally, Lizard. Bappy may not respond. They had to go eat, but they'll be back. So we'll see if they don't respond. No, they're not ignoring you. But yeah, so that's kind of a little more inside look on that. Use the bald emote for the entire stream. Okay, well, I mean, what I could do, I'm going to eat right now. What I could do is that when we decide on which costumes to keep, which ones we don't keep, we can make it so that that the talking one is the lifting the hat versus Mama Dodo like open mouth. We could switch it around if we wanted to do that. I need to be making some food, but so far being back to uni is great. Good. Mama Baldo. That's really funny. I don't know how to make it work, because a part of me wants to like keep the redeem, but the redeem again doesn't work for other costumes well. It would just mandatorily, it would just switch. It would just completely switch to a completely different costume, which would be less funny, at least in my mind. I don't know if I watched the replay but didn't hear it, except for using my phone and at the start of the stream when I had my own stream in the background. Oh. So maybe it was like a double dip somewhere. I mean, it could have been, Bappy. Was your computer sound coming through your OBS? Because that happens to me sometimes too. I've been listening to some more Weekend albums. Okay. Okay, I'm glad you're liking it. Petition to have the shot of the bald Mama Dodo as an emote on Discord. Okay. Alright, I could do that. I can do that. So we just want bald emote? Is that it? It's just bald? Might learn how to mod Stradivarius Sprite so I could turn the chickens into Mama Dodo. Do it! If you do that, send me a picture, because I want to see it. Because I think that'd be really cute. Yeah, okay. I can honestly do that right now. Make the bald emote also on Twitch. Why is the emote for Arctic eggs just gonna be balls? That makes no sense. Oh, but it's funny. It's truly funny. Hold on, let's see here. Server settings, emoji, upload.
Egg. Egg.
Well, you're definitely getting on Queen's good side, that's for sure.
Egg.
Page every single Surfer sprite with Mama Dodo. Sifrin. Yeah, I honestly, like, pixel art is, I don't want to say it's easy, but I have a better grasp of pixel art than I do of normal drawing. Stars in Time again. Got you. Let's see. Oh, we have 100 slots in our Discord server for emojis. I did not know it. That's interesting. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna do a test in art. New emoji just dropped in the Discord. Boo, boo, boo. What? Add your own flair? Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh. Animated emojis are only available when we have Nitro. Damn it. That's unfortunate. That's fine. We could just do this. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna go and open Bald Mama Dodo. And we're gonna copy it. And then we're gonna open it. And then save as copy of a JPEG. Should we do JPEG or PNG? I always flip back and forth. I think JPEG's better, but PNG has invisible background, right? If you need Nitro, just act as an e-girl online and get a free one. Oh. Okay. Underhat bolds. JPEG. Save. Is it gonna go back to? Now is the white gonna disappear? Let's see. I guess I could just do this. Edit. I should probably just show you what I'm doing. I don't think I'm showing anything bad here. Background, remove, save. Why didn't it do it? Background, remove. Save as copy. There we go. Better. Too hot for Twitch. Alright, oh, first things first, let's do this. Streamer mode on because because we're streaming. Banned for nudity. Yeah, it's hairless. Indecent. Server settings, emojis. See, it's there, but it's animated, and apparently that is only for. So, unfortunately, we couldn't do it. Originally, the server was boosted, but in order to help save money, because of my money situation right now, I turned that off for now. Okay, there we go. Perfect. There we go. Now, new emoji just dropped. There we go. Emoji. We have a new Mama Dodo bald emoji in the Discord. So certainly do not go crazy with it. Y'all already on it. That's so funny. Let's see if I could change it, because it definitely should be just like bald, right? Yeah. Yeah, it will be bald. Yeah. We'll do Dodo bald. Yeah. Speaking of which, indirect reminder, I should try to work on the duck army infection. Yeah. I was gonna say, reminder to do that. I said I was gonna do it. You'll go crazy with it. But yeah, no, I'm glad y'all really liked the interaction stuff. I actually took well, not really notes, but like, it's one of the bigger, learn from my mistakes, please, in that as you do things, record how long it takes for you. What happens if it's 50-50? If it's 50-50, I think whatever's listed first wins. I don't think it's random, but I could be wrong. I didn't my original plan was to have a specific one where it's, if it's half and half, then it's half one, half the other. Oh, I need to get Mama Dodo prepared. I forgot that I need to do that. Oh wait. No, Mama Dodo! Tell me to I'll be back in 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. Wait a minute. Alright, I'm back. What's up, y'all? I need to go and manually move Mama Dodo because it's not right. We're gonna there we go. There we go. All right, okay. And then I also need to make Mama Dodo a little bigger because honestly, Mama Dodo's a little small on this one. I don't know why. All right, there we go. Yeah. But what I was saying was, write down how long it takes for you to do things. So as you plan ahead, you can allocate the amount of time accordingly. So for those that may be interested, this took me, Chef Mama Dodo took me about 10 hours. 1 hour for planning, 2 hours for programming, and then 7 hours for animation and art. And this was like, I'm just writing stuff out as far as things that I wanted to add to it. And then the Like the It's a Me Mario, Oosh, it's a rat, alert, Riz. Yeah. Yeah, everyone should eat their greens. You could be as big as, well, you hopefully would be bigger than Mama Dodo. I'm gonna be real. I know, right? It's the sound effects. Which, by the way, I should probably say where I've been getting my sound effects. Let's see here. Let's see, do I still have it up? Or can I just bring you over? Oh, I definitely need to close this. Why did I still have that up? That would have been problematic. I was like paying bills earlier, so I still had like personal information up. Woo! It is called myinstance.com. This is where I get all my sound effects from. Like, that's where I got that from. And then all you need to do is just click it and then just download it. And that's it. Maybe if we hear the mod, then it's an application. When will you play Stars in Time and reuse the hat redeem because Sifrin wears a hat reel? Really? That's actually good to know. I mean, listen, if we double dipping, I'm not against it. As long as I can have a new creative way of going about it, it counts. But I mean, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know when we'll play Stars in Time. Oh, did you put that in recommended games by any chance on the Discord? Because if not, I recommend it. Because that's where that's, as somebody with a poor memory, that's when I look like, oh, what did my community want me to play? That's where I look. And my game won't open. No. Is it because you tried to mod it? Because I remember you telling me about it. Or is that right now and you're having difficulty doing that? But yeah, no. So today, to be 100% honest, I don't. Okay, so today I'm tired. So I'm trying to be like, well, what are we going to be doing today? So I need to remember what we even started doing last time. So I think we were making HTML code. I know it was API stuff. I know it was code related stuff. I remember writing down things that we needed. Line flexibility of running the program specifically if I'm hosting it. Discussion, we can make a website. This is why we had a tracking thing for the game dev Excel sheet. Specifically because I forget. I got a working demo for my Nico one-shot. Ooh, good job. Something with converting Twitch points into a different way to make it easier to track on your end. Yeah. Like, that's definitely the point of it. Oh, right. I think, if I remember correctly, I wanted there to be... We wanted there to make a site where at least everything is functioning the way we want it to function, but there needs to be something there first in order for us to test it. So we were making the site, and then we, let's see, like Visual Studio. Yes, I remember now. So if we look here, it was the steam, it was the example, and then from Bappy was kind of giving us some examples as far as what one would look like, and then like this is like an example of a button and something like that. So that's what it was. I also fixed my room and now it's finally livable. I'm so proud of you, Foxy. Honestly, that's an achievement. Get yourself a cookie. But yeah, no, I think this is what we were at, where because if we actually go ahead and look at this one, sure, run on Chrome. See? And then we can click this button to make a button, but that doesn't lead anywhere. So we were messing around with it. The Minecraft, the fact that it's not square makes me think that it's not Oreos. And what I will say, square Oreos are still Oreos. What makes an Oreo an Oreo is that type of cookie with that type of filling, in my opinion. I don't think it needs to be circular in order to be considered Oreo. You know what I'm saying? Or what would you call a square Oreo? If not an Oreo. What other name would you give it? Squoreo? Let's see here. Actually, let's do this. Window capture. We'll switch this one to... Boom. There we go. That way we're not having to worry about stuff. Interesting. Why is this being weird? Whatever. It's fine. An Oreo is the white thing between two black cookies. Not necessarily. I would say the color doesn't really matter all that much, because they have different flavors and they have different color Oreos, but I would still classify those as Oreos, right? Like the pink and like the ones that are like, oh, this is like cookies and cream, and then it's more white than black. Or inverse Oreos, where it's the white outside and black filling inside. Like, that's still Oreo, in my mind. But, like, the color doesn't dictate the type of cookie. It's like you have the two of those specific kinds of cookies and a filling, that specific kind of filling in between. That's what makes an Oreo an Oreo. The shape doesn't matter, the color doesn't matter. What matters is it's that type of cookie and that type of filling. Now, if they flipped it and they made the filling on the outside, well, that would be wild. If they made like fillings on the outside and then the cookie on the inside. It's like, where would you hold it? Like maybe on the edges? I'm getting distracted. Anyway, so one of the things that I wanted to also go over today was an idea that I had at some point last week, which I thought was kind of interesting. So for those that may or may not be aware of, I've put a lot of time and effort into making our own ESRBs, which we call ECRBs. I forget what I had that stand for. For those Rioreos? What are Riori? What is that? What is that, Dragon? But the ESRBs are the little warnings for shows that pop up. And the idea behind it was I wanted to make sure that the people watching the stream get a little bit of heads up of any kind of triggering things that may be happening during that stream. So like flash, like there's the accessibility versions of it, so flashing, loud noises, like that, those kind of things where it's a lot more of an accessibility thing. Get an Oreo without a cream between two cookies. Oh my gosh, that's such a meme. Cookie cream. Oh. It took me a hot second. Thank you for explaining it. It was cream, cookie, cream. So Rio-Rees. Yeah. Gotcha. Ryu. This reminds me of like that burger meme where it was like this is a burger, and then they start rearranging the burger, and then the word also shifted with that. Anyway, it's like warning. So like there's the classic violence, there's like there might be some like sexual stuff, etc., but most of the games we play, we don't have to have that warning. But like the stuff that you see on TV where it's just like, this is a warning, there's language, there's violence, there's blah, 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 right? And because we're utilizing a kind of like older like aughts TV aesthetic kind of vibe, and so what the idea that I've been like custom making them. So here I'll give some examples. If we look here, so here are two of them that we've made. We have a flash up there, and then we have a slime. But the way that it works is I make each one customizable and then input it into OBS as a PNG. That is then overlaid on the screen that you have now, with like a little bit of translucency so you can kind of see behind it, right? It technically still blocks things, but it's strictly black and white. I want it to be multifaceted in that you don't need to understand the language to understand the symbol that it's giving, right? So like lightning would be flash, slime would be slime mama dodo, I think might be the biggest like stretch of the imagination. But then we also have like jump scares and gore and scary dinosaur. Like there's like, and then we have like the phobias, right? So we have arachnophobia, we have needles, we have like, and then we have like other different kinds of horror, like body horror, and then just the more traditional ones like alcohol and violence and things of that nature, where you know we really get to play with it. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to go along with it. One in particular, in Billy's, exactly, and Billy's. And what I wanted to go along with it was one of the events or one of the seasons that we have out there that are maybe like the Goddard Entertainment would have been more utilized for, is making these ECRBs animated and / interactable in some way, shape, or form, because I really think it's kind of cool that they would be moving around a little bit, because we could really mess with it. It doesn't need to be this simple. We could really play with it. So I like my Spotify playlist, and I find songs are good, but I'm on the edge of putting it on the main playlist. So I have a liked candidate playlist with all those. I wouldn't say you're crazy. Whatever, like, I think it's just that's your way of organizing things. Yeah. Everyone has their unique way of sorting and organizing that makes sense to themselves, because to be honest, it doesn't need to make sense to anyone else. It just needs to make sense to you. Yeah. Like, it's not how other people would want to organize things. Which, speaking of which, I need to talk about something about organization that I've started doing that that gives me a slight amount of worry. And get some food then, Alice. Get some food. And that amount of worry is at grocery stores. So, you know, I've recently moved into like a smaller town and to like help save money, etc. And at the grocery store, they have big carts and then they have small carts. And what I have learned is that when I'm walking by those carts and I see a hodgepodge mixture of big carts and small carts in the same rows, I get upset. Not upset, it irks me. Upset is a strong word. I don't have a strong emotional reaction, just enough of it being frustrating. And oh gosh, you're driving back. Oh no. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Y'all, like, did you all not bring road snacks? Alice? That's rule number 1 on a road trip, especially a long road trip, is that you bring road snacks. But what happens, because they're all mixed in together, they take up more room. So, because they don't go into each other. So I literally take carts out of the cart place, like where you put the carts, and then rearrange them back where the bigs are in one and the smalls are in the other. And I never have done that before this move. Like, I don't know why I've started doing that, but I've started doing that. And I don't know if this is a developing problem or not, because it's gotten to the point of doing actions to organize things outside of my normal thing, like out in public. Facing Mama Dodo is gonna be a challenge. Yeah, as someone who has attempted to do that, it is a challenge. Now what I could do, I could do you a solid, Dragon. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. There is an animation in the works. There's an animation in the works that, actually, wait, no. I don't think I have it. Damn, sorry. I don't think I have it down on this computer. It might just be on my iPad. It's fine. Remind me, Dragon. I can post a there's an animation in the works for like one of the whatchamacallit, it's kind of like a redeem for like using bits or something, you know, those like custom animations for stream where I tackled front-facing Mama Dodo. There's like a couple frames with front-facing Mama Dodo that I thought actually turned out pretty well. So I want to show you that one so that you can see like how I went about front-facing Mama Dodo, so that you can use that as reference. So remind me, and I'll send it. I just don't want to go and get my iPad and try to find it and then send it and do the whole thing right now. You keep on going through internet dead zones. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I'm eating goldfish, but they're no way filling anymore. Yeah. So if you were going to get food, like road snacks next time, which snacks do you want to bring next time so that you don't run into this situation again? Because it seems goldfish wasn't the right move, or at least just goldfish isn't the right move. I mean, you're traveling currently, which, by the way, be safe. I hope you are have a. It's a long drive, but I hope it's at least a quick one for you. I know if it was something that long, I would be trying to sleep through most of it, personally. But hey, you know what? This stream will kill 4 hours for you, so all the power to you. What was I saying? Oh, right, ECRBs. So I was thinking like, oh, we could do ECRB, make that animated and like as an event kind of deal. And I think that would have been really, really cool. But ECRBs, for the most part, we're on like 20 something. Like we're pretty up there. as far as the amount that we have going on here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, damn, 23, 24, 25, 26. 26. Hell yeah, Alice. Hopefully you get some good food. We have 26 ECRBs, and that's not going to be stopping anytime soon, right? And like, for those that see the beginning of the stream, you see that like we have the starting soon, like here are the ECRBs for the stream, that kind of deal. Which, by the way, the first video that we'll be adding or doing for the lore stuff, we'll be introducing a new starting screen for that. But we'll still very much have that kind of vibe of ECRBs are still going to be keep on going, right? And so a thought that I had last week, this basically to say all this, is what if we made the ECRBs more integrated in streaming by making an overlay application? Similar to how we're making our stream app. I mean, do I want to completely shift gears and do this? No. But it's still a thought that I wanted to put out there and to talk about a little bit, because I think it's worth noting. And it's also more, it's something that's, I can see being more of like a Twitch extension. You know what I mean? Because so here's the gist. I was thinking of having the ECRBs be an overlay for the stream that can pull, that we can literally, all it would be, it's like, okay, because overlays for extensions is like, there's like a little symbol on the side of the stream or whatever, and then you click it, and then it opens up a panel, and then you'll be able to see stuff, right? Current overlays are like, oh, this is my build for Destiny, or this is what I'm like it's additional information about the stream that you're watching, right? Which ECRBs is just that. So my idea for the extension is that it's an extension where you can just drag and drop any like PNG, JPEG, etc., or GIF, and then like a little descriptor of like, hey, this is this. So a good example would be, let's see here. Put him in the microwave. Don't put your brother in the microwave. Let's see here. Where are you? I'm so sorry. If we go to Twitch screens. Yeah, let's do you. Like this. If I can find the brave. There it is. Yeah, like this. So as you can see, you have this image here, and then there would probably be like one more little like title of what it is, and then you can put in like what it means. So I like doing little, like, some serious, some not. I like playing with it, right? Includes animal death. Animals may be cute or monstrous. These are not mutually exclusive. The issue with song suggestions, Foxy, is in like playing in the background currently, is that I need to make sure that they're safe to put on YouTube and or Twitch. So it has to be copyright free. Like it's even just video game music, I get flagged sometimes, especially Delta Road. Deltarune, it got flagged. Some of those songs got flagged because people are lying. Well, good. I'm glad. I appreciate you giving me permission for using your songs, and I'll be sure to ask before I use them as well. Or at least, at the very least, give you a heads up. But so, what is your suggestion, Foxy? I'll at least hear you out. But just know that if I say no, it's not because it's like I think that's a bad idea, or like, oh, that was a bad suggestion. It's I need to be extra careful when it comes to songs that, unless I'm 100% sure, or that I've verified that it is okay to put up, that I'm more reluctant to switch to that because it causes issues trying to upload it on not only here, but if I were to, let's say I have it in the background and then I wanted to make a short of the thing and then put it up on TikTok, it would have to be okay on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Twitch, and they all have different rules and leniencies, and it's a whole 9 yards. I have 2 main songs contenders. Now I Get It or Cat Song, both on Spotify and YouTube. Okay. You know what? Let me write that down. Okay. Song suggestions. Now I Get It and Cat Song. Would it be cheating if I use Slime Rancher, Mama Dodo? For what? I forget what you were using this for. Alright, see? Wrote it down. I'll check it out. I'll check them out. A Sprite? For which game? Or for what purposes? Because so far the answer is no, it's not cheating. Not cheating at all. It's a simplified version. Don't ever cheat on Mama Dodo. She deserves so much better. But don't people have a setting that makes music not appear in VODs? No. The way that people go about it is that they have songs coming in at a different audio mix. So in OBS you can set different, like, okay, audio 1, audio 2, audio 3, etc. And then you can make it so that stream can hear the music, but then nothing comes up on the VOD, so nothing can get flagged, because you didn't need to worry about it. Or people just let it mute the music and just let it do its thing, and then they just implement that into their workflow of like, oh, okay, they're gonna, this part's gonna be flagged in the background. But then if I upload it, I would then have to manually upload music that is safe, so I would still be adding more stuff. Relating to gotcha. But yeah, no, like, this is kind of what I was thinking, where it's just like, it's this, but you just pull it up from the side, and then by making an extension and make it so that other people have the opportunity to use this, it will basically just be like, cool, I think other streamers would want to be able to give people a heads up of what they're doing. And then I could also make it so that they could have like saved presets. So like, it's like, oh, so for this game it's this, and for this game it's this. Because I'm also thinking about ways of how to make it super straightforward. Because my current one is like, I turn things off and on, just kind of like at will, however I see fit. it's just kind of like little things that I could just turn on and off. And so they're not always consistent because sometimes I miss one or two or three, more like just one. So why not just do that? Because I would still have to add in the music. So instead of, so it's a lot of hassle for something where it would add more work to my plate, basically. So unless there's a really big demand of like, hey, we really want this kind of music going on, is there any way to make this happen? Then fine, you know, I'm fine with doing that. Tomorrow is Halloween. Yeah, spooky month. I'm so excited. For those that don't know, on Halloween I do a 24-hour stream, and we do like a whole horror like deal, like game 24-hour thing going on, where I have like different costumes, and it's really good. So Spooky Mama Dodo will be on Halloween. Yeah. And I might have some other plans for y'all this Halloween this year. Just saying, something to look forward to. Just saying. But yeah, when it comes to music and stuff like that, the simplest and best thing is to just use music that is copyright free. If you want me to not use copyright safe stuff, then I need to do a lot of stuff in the background to make sure everything still passes through and I don't get strikes for putting up there. Which usually video game music is one of those things that is often more safe than not. That's what I think most streamers do. Maybe not most, but at least the ones that I know about. They use video game music. Because you can't prove that they're not playing the game. You know what I mean? So they have like Mario music or Pokemon music or things like that in the background, because more than likely it's safe as compared to just like the top 20 hottest hits going around in the background will like copyright strike your VOD to the bottom of the ocean. So go back to listening to NC songs. Who's NC? Also on Halloween, I'm releasing my second album, Puzzle Box, and that is the final. Ooh, that's awesome, Foxy! Congratulations. That's awesome. Your second album? I'm proud that you got the first album out. Oh, we need to go back to listening to no copyright songs. Yeah. I mean, Nefex, most of, if not all of his stuff is not copyright. But I've also had issues. So here's another reason why I don't like messing around with it. I have history of doing a what they said was not copyright, and I'm like, oh, it's not copyright, it's perfect, like it says it on the YouTube channel, like, oh, this is not copyright songs, and I'm like, cool, we'll try this one out for a little bit, and the whole thing got flagged. Like, it was the sound was awful because the AI combed through and removed the song, but that means it also made my voice sound weird, and there was no fixing that. And I was like, okay, so this is a botched VOD. I can't use this. I can't use anything here. It's bad. Funny thing is, Puzzle Box was supposed to be, when it comes to creative releases and stuff like that, it's good to have a goal, but like, you need to forgive yourself for it taking longer. Is there a reason why it took longer? Was it just bigger scope than you anticipated it being? You know what I mean? Because in my mind, yeah. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about at least the ECRB thing here. It's like as another Twitch extension that we could use. Well, this one is like the actual Twitch extension that other streamers might be interested in, but the program that we're running or want to make is much more what's the word I'm looking for? Personal. Like, I do maybe want to make a streamer friendly version of it at some point, so that other people can make their own like economies and systems and stuff for their stream. But none of them, nothing. That's not the original goal of it, right? The original goal is to remove headaches as we make fun. As I make fun stuff for y'all. I made like 70% of the instrumentals, but for this album, I'm trying to make actual lyrics of the songs. Ooh, okay. So there's only one song with lyrics. Okay. I like your. I'm stating starting small, even though that's not small. That's very impressive. that you release an album at all, really. So that's awesome, and I'm glad to see that you're trying to like step it up. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, cool, we're gonna step this up. We're going to do what we did last time. We're gonna take what we learned, and then we're gonna do a little. We're gonna push ourselves a little bit more, and I think that's very well. Yeah, you and me both, Dragon. All right, everyone. We're gonna do a quick ad break. I will see y'all in 3 minutes. Stretch, drink some water, grab a snack. See you in a sec. All right. I have a sneaking suspicion that's not gonna happen today. Oh, I was gonna say like, oh, I have this goal for working out for today, but I think my body's still waking up. Yeah, it's been an hour, Foxy. And that is the best compliment you could give me. I appreciate it. I like to think I kill time pretty well. Let's see here. I need to figure out what this is all about. I have a lot of Discord like mentions, and I'm like, are we okay? Let's see here. Streaming, but we'll see when I'm done around 5. Just people trying to get game, like trying to potentially play a game and or play some Magic. For those that don't know, I play Magic. Not as often anymore. I'm much more of a Magic theory crafter than I am a Magic player. But I just love theory crafting in general. I'm a big theory crafter kind of guy. Ever since like my League of Legends days, where I made builds. It was fun. And then I got into Paragon, and then I started making builds for that. But yeah, no, I mean, I recommend Magic, but I don't recommend. It's an expensive hobby, so use proxies. Buy singles and use proxies. That's what I would recommend. What are we gonna do, dude? A part of me is just like, oh, let's do this. Another part of me is just like, well, I don't know if I have the bandwidth. I don't know if I have the bandwidth to work on this. But if we wouldn't work on this, what are we gonna do? And I think it's partly due to like one, just being tired today, And 2, we went so hard Sunday. What was the name of the game you played yesterday? Oh, you mean or Sunday? That was Arctic Eggs. The game that we played last time was Arctic Eggs. A Sprite crashed on me. Gonna leave Sprite work another time. No. No. Well, let's see. Yeah, Arctic Eggs, correct. It's like a weird. I mean, we completely beat it in less than 4 hours. Like, it's a fun little game. But basically, for those that weren't part of the conversation for when we were in doing ad break, I was saying, like, well, I don't know if I have the bandwidth today for making this program, because it's been we're a good hour into this and I'm still not fully awake. But if we wouldn't do that, what would we do? Would we turn it into a Sunday chill day kind of deal? Or we just kind of do whatever? Because we went so hard on Sunday for what was supposed to be Saturday, we didn't really have a Sunday chill day. You know what I mean? We kind of skipped on a Sunday chill day, so it's not like I'm against the idea. But the question is... Here, I'm also out of coding juice, right? What I'm cooking up is, well, it's a couple of things. One of the things that we discussed are, you know, the little ECRBs that we have on the top left. What if we have that be a Twitch extension that other people can just slot in their, like, little warnings ahead of time for what they're doing, but leave it open-ended where it's just like they can put in any image that they want and they can put in any description that they're wanting to go for it. C++ work? Really? Yeah. Yeah, that's C++ is it's solid. I think it was the first one that I tried to learn. I think C++ was the first introduction for me, because C++ is Unity, right? And I think that's what I learned. I also need to be playing my animatronic game. Yeah, go for it. Definitely. Well, I would like to try to keep it programming related today, to at least a certain degree. Am I complaining with C#? What's C++ then? Was that Unreal? Because I know I have experience in both. Because I used both. Because, like, Unreal might have been C++ then. C#, I guess, was Unity. And then C++, I guess, was Unreal. Yeah. Yeah. So C# was my first. And then C++ was my second. And then Godot was my third. Or the GD script was. I'm getting the flashbacks to that one night of the summer of '87. Foxy, were you there? Why didn't you say anything? But to answer your question, Starbeast, what we're cooking, at least right now, is just a very beginning of let me turn this back on. A very beginning of a website, with the idea of having Twitch integration to it, so that way we can convert channel points into our own, like, economy that then we can do some really fun stuff with. And then that way I can do the things that I want to do without hitting the walls that I've been hitting with the restrictions of only depending on what Twitch provides. So yeah, that's it's nothing crazy. It's literally just, if I just run this, oh, I'm gonna have to do display there, like, just hello, and then I made this button make another button, and that's it. But the idea here is that I just want to have our own little like thing, you know? You got the main narrative down. Good, good. I'm glad. Oh, what did you end up deciding on like how the narrative was going to go? Because I know you were talking about potentially like bodies and souls and stuff like that. And you needed to hide from the bodies as a soul, I think. The last time that you were talking about it. Economical crisis, the Mama Dodo coin makes people lose billions of dollars. Yeah, it's like, yeah, did you know that this is gonna be a new Bitcoin? Dodo coin? And like the dodo, it went extinct. Oh no. Oh gosh. That's just for legal purposes, this is a joke. I am not making any kind of coinage. But what I do want is to be able to like track and properly gift and reward people points for interactions and stuff like that. Like incentivization. I need incentivization, but I can't do that with Twitch channel points. So I'm making something to mess with that. Or not mess with it, but to allow me more freedom to utilize that, right? Right. All Mama Dodo costumes become NFTs. Oh gosh. Can you imagine the NFT situation happening at the same time as the current AI, generative AI thing happening at the same time? Like, it would have been crazy, because then it's just like, not only are the NFTs AI generated, but everyone's stealing each other's NFTs. Like the generative AI would just get more and more like cursed because it just feeds itself. Oh no, that would have been so funny. Just watch the whole thing implode in of itself. It's just like grabbing some popcorn, dude. Like, what the hell? I thought that situation was wild. Like, don't get me wrong. Am I an expert in that kind of stuff? No. But at least in my understanding, it's like, it's not, no. Takes a place at a factory that makes animatronics made for different entertainer shows. One night, they're taken with by a hacker. It's changed its coding entirely. Okay. AI is copying AI, so the AI is getting more and more corrupted. Yeah. It's what's the phrase? It's not a good phrase, and it's probably not even an accurate phrase, but it's kind of like drinking your own pee, kinda. No, that's not a good reference at all. It's like a game of telephone. That's the way I like to do it. I like to associate it with, you know? Now they are given the internet to become animated, intent, not internet, to become animated, and they have been told they could do this by harvesting human souls. That's a hell of a hacker change, by the way. Animated is in released out of being programmed. Gotcha. But yeah, like I see generative AI similar to like a game of telephone where or any kind of work where you copy from like the previous statement of what is being said. Welcome back, Bappy. How are you doing? Oh, how was your food? Egg. What'd you end up having? So don't think we have established intent of why he did this. This meant to be a small project. Yeah, I recommend exploring why. Granted, I don't know how narrative you want this to be though. How important do you want the narrative to be in this game? If you want it to be like a heavy thing, then asking why would make a lot of sense. If it's just like background lore, then you know, let the people come up with their own lore reasons, right? Because I think there is I forget the phrase for it. Got some pasta. Ooh. Hell yeah, Bappy. I'm happy for you. And it's funny, Bappy, that like I saw a couple times, I saw the notifications where you were going live, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they're still live. By the time I'm getting around to watch you, you're long gone. And I'm like, no, I wanted to see Bappy. Hackers in 5 Nights programming robots to make human souls and reanimate versus hackers IRL who hacked the first YouTube video and changed the thumbnail. Really? I didn't know that was a thing. They hacked the first thumbnail? That's hilarious. I lived for 5 minutes because my internet was bad today. I don't know why. No. Did you call your internet provider to see what's up? Or was there like other kind of like, did you do like a internet test, upload, download nonsense? To see if there's like, because upload is the streaming aspect of stuff. Like you need to have a solid upload internet to be able to stream well. It's meant to be story heavy, yeah. So in that case, then you probably want to know why. But as somebody, it's only on Twitch. Oh, I'm sorry, Bappy. Ate some pasta earlier today. There was a cockroach inside. What? Did you keep eating the pasta? Or did you throw away the pasta? I hit affiliate, so I'm happy anyway. Hey, congratulations, Bappy! Congrats on hitting affiliate. I'm so excited for you. Did you do anything special to celebrate? Or are you just kind of vibing? Or was today supposed to be celebration? And then Twitch was like, no, you won't. But yeah, no, congrats. That's a huge milestone. I know it took me. It took me until Cult of the Lamb popped off for me to do it. I ate the pasta. Oh, it's a wasted potential. Yeah, but there are roaches in there. You don't eat them. I didn't do anything since it did not stream. Yeah, but you don't have to celebrate on the day. You could just be like, hey, I've hit affiliate. Now I'm decided that this day is the day I'm going to celebrate for it. You know what I mean? It's still taking me to reach affiliate. Yeah, like it takes a hot minute. And people do it at different rates, and that doesn't mean, if it takes you longer, it doesn't mean that you're bad, right? It doesn't mean that it's like, oh, it's awful. Like, it's just some people do it at different rates. For me, it took me about 8 months or so of streaming. I want to say 8 months. It was September, and I started in March. So April, May, June, July, August, September. 6 months. It took me 6 months to reach affiliate. And most of that was like I got like maybe 4 follows a month, something like that in the beginning. I want to say it took a hot minute. Affiliate so I could make my own emotes and use them. Yeah, I also want to make my own emotes and use them, but I like making things difficult for myself and make it so it's lore relevant. So we need to build the lore up to the point where we can use emotes. Why am I like this? Oh boy. But you know, I mean, it's important. Well, I wouldn't say it's important, but it's like affiliate is the one where it's just like, cool, now it feels like I'm really streaming. The beginning, before affiliate, it still feels like you're a noob. It's like, I'm so new. I'm a baby streamer, and then you hit affiliate. I'm like, oh, now I'm a adolescent streamer. And then the partner thing, that's the one that I put a lot of weight to, is the partner aspect of streaming, because that's a bigger cut for subs for you. That means on average there's at least like 75 people, at least 75 people watching your stuff, right? And that's not a small number. Like, I like it when really, well, like is a strong word, but I find it interesting. People just got jump scared by Mario. You got jump scared by Mama Dodo speaking like Mario. What's the word I was looking for? When really big streamers talk about, like, yeah, no, I was still a small streamer with just like an average of a couple hundred watchers, and I'm like, a couple hundred viewers average is not small. At least in my mind. Mario Dodo is funny. Mama Mario. Yeah, no, I always found that a little bit interesting, where it's like, oh, it's small streamer, only a couple hundred viewers on average, but I guess relative to their thousands, a couple hundred is small, right? It's all about perspective. But that's also that's when you start getting into the arguments for, do you want to do this full time? My peak spheres was 3, 2 of which were me. How were you 2 of your 3? How were you 2 of your 3? Huh? Foxy. Oh, gosh. I can't wake up today, dude. A part of me, I wonder if I should grab a caffeinated drink or something. My phone and my PC. Oh, for like bot? So like your bot account? And not in like a illegal way. Like Mama Dodo, I have a bot account that acts as my mod for the stream, right? So Paleomancer's Dodo that you see pop up saying that like we need to go to ad break because we're low on battery or something, that is an actual Twitch account on Twitch, which is funny because some of y'all follow her on Twitch, which I find hilarious because it's just Paleomancer's Dodo on there. It's really funny. Oh, in case you don't know this command, if you do !Dodo, Mama Dodo will talk to you. It's not a speech to text or text to speech situation, but you'll get supportive remarks from Mama Dodo. Egg. I like Dodo. I think you would need I guess you got this. Yeah, see? I'm wondering if I should add a few more to there. But I just wanted to be a whole bunch of supportive statements that Mama Dodo would say. So if you need any emotional support, !Dodo, we'll kind of fill that in a little bit. Y'all are weird. Uh-oh. Oh gosh. What other ones do we have going on that I've like forgotten about? Let's see here. Let's see here. What is infected army? There's oh, we haven't seen Dark in forever. I know he had issues with his Twitch account. You got this, Cubes Ligma. We got the tween one. We got the feeding. Yeah, I think infected army. Duck army and infected army. Yeah, do y'all know the egg? For those that don't know the story of, since I hit affiliate, I start looking at channel point code integration in Twitch for my project. I'll be able to help you with that after that. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Bappy. Sounds good to me. I hope you have some cool and interesting things that you do with it. I know I've been having a lot of fun with the channel point stuff. But yeah. Any ideas that you have floating around so far? It doesn't have to be anything concrete, just genuinely curious. What did you think exclamation mark pointer would do? Aren't tweens the humans are in between 13 and 18? Yes, which is why the definition is up there. So here's the story. There is a animation, in particular, it was like a coding thing, called tweening. When this was like in the very beginning of GD script, when I was learning everything, and I thought tween, and I was trying to figure out how to move a square. And so I ended up learning about tween, and I thought it was the funniest word in the world, and I couldn't get over it. So I made a exclamation mark tween with a vine boom with it, and because it made the vine boom sound, and that was it. And I thought it was really funny. Playing with the overlay with the point should be fun. Yeah, it should be. Just know that if it's fairly drastic, make it expensive. You don't want that spamming. That's the only recommendation I give you. Well, not the only, but that's one of the recommendations I give you. Might just be some lurking. Gotta get myself some meatballs. Go for it. Meatballs are delicious. Make the dodo reply with yes or no. What? No. That's so much power. Oh, do you mean like an 8-ball? Oh, dodo 8-ball. Yeah. No, yeah. So it would be just... Should it just be called dodo 8-ball? Ask, is this Steam? Oh. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make that. That's pretty funny. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll make this like a chat made. We'll do ask. And then ask. Boom. And the start. We'll do anywhere. Make it a king 8-ball. Wood king? Wood king. Yeah. Okay. We'll make it king. All right, here. We'll do. Where is Mama Jojo? Here we go. Perfect. Commands. King like of England? No. So Foxy. No, king first. Okay. Multiple clarifications. King is the king of the theropods. He's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So he's one of Idealist summons. Yeah. Queen is the queen of the raptors. She was a rebel leader that unified all the different species. King died, was the king of a large amount of land before the asteroid hit. He died from the 65 million asteroid collision situation. And so this is basically, it's lore background character stuff. And if you're very confused of like why are they talking about this, and it's because Idealist has certain summons, different like groups that are led by certain resurrected, prehistoric creatures. King being one of them, and Queen being a different one, even though they are very much at odds with each other. For right now, those are the names. I don't think I'm going to change them, but I can also see it be confusing where it's like, we have King and Queen, but they are nothing alike. This is a lot of lore. If I'm an extra, I'll forget everything you just said and never remember it again. Yeah. The quick and dirty version, King is a T-Rex of Idealist summons. That's all you really need to know. Anything beyond that is flavor, baby. It's seasoning. We're going to duplicate. Where are you? Duplicate. This will be ask. Command trigger. Command trigger. Huh. Interesting. Sorry, I kind of lost track because I was like, I don't remember having this many, so I was very confused. Alright, so ask. So now, after pondering, let's see here. Hold on. What are the 8 balls responses again? Let's have some fun with it. Yeah. So let's pull this up. 8 ball responses. Let's see here. So if we look, what a normal 8 ball would say. After asking a yes/no question, possible answers. You have a bunch of affirmative, a handful of neutral, and then let's run off this, right? So we're gonna go ahead and we'll just do like, we'll just, let me fix this. And whoop, perfect. Boop, done. All right, so it is certain. So what would be an equivalent for King saying it is certain? It is certainly possible. Nah, he would just say it is so. It is so. Then it is decidedly so. Uh-oh. Okay. You doubt this? Why? It is certainly... It is certain. And then we could do... Yes, definitely you may rely on it. Though most things you need to doubt, this is not one of them. He would say... Let's see here. Twitch message. Is that... Okay, good. I do have that favorited. Though I am not all-seeing, this I am certain of. Oh, I'll probably just do king on the end of all this. Get all these out. Yeah. Yeah. All right. It is a safe bet. King. Perfect. And now the neutral ones. We could do something like, sorry, you cut out. Please repeat. King. That's not something King would say. He would do, I am unsure. We'll move everything over there later. Ask again later. Ignores you. No, it's not done yet. Favorite Twitch, but you're free to try it out if you want. I fixed it so it should only happen once now if you want to do that. I thought this was supposed to be yes or no questions. Huh? Foxy. Is Dragon a furry? It is a safe bet. I haven't gotten to the negatives yet. That's not a fair question. Ignores you. Better not tell you now. You are not ready for the answer. King. There we go. Then I am unsure. Oh, I already have I am unsure. You aren't asking the right questions. Okay. What did you think the answer was gonna be there, Foxy? Then we'll do don't count on it, so I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't would be one. And then no, just a straight no is really funny to me. Let's see. Make one that is indubitably. He wouldn't say indubitably. What would be an equivalent to indubitably? He would say indeed. He would say indeed. Let's do, what would be another one? What would be another one? Perchance. Indubitably. Who do you you really have the like the kingly king manner in your mind, don't you? It's like, yes, I am the king, indubitably so. Ooh, that is honestly kind of funny. But let's see here. Let's see. I wouldn't count on it. Then I would say, or should one of them be perchance? I wouldn't. Again, whys don't work on 8 balls. It don't work. What if we have like a couple of just random ones where it's just like, that's really funny. That's really funny. That's really good. That's really funny, Foxy. Are you listening to me? Ignores you is really good. Let's see here. I wouldn't know, indeed. I wouldn't count on it. Don't ask me that again. He would say that. I think one more. I think we have a decent amount. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 are yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4 are neutrals. And then 1, 2, 3 are no's. So I have 6. I have 6, it is so. Let's do, give me my just the no is really funny to me. I don't know why. Just the that's why I want indeed. I like the really short ones. They're really funny to me. Your luck with this is horrible, Foxy. It's horrible. I would say we would definitely need another negative. But there's 6 positives. Okay, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 8 balls have twice. There's an equal amount of affirmative as there is neutral negative. Yeah. No. Do you know the right questions? I wouldn't count on it. Well, let's see here. If that's the case, let's do one more negative. I would say, how would King go about saying no? Besides just no. It would just literally, it's just true that I okay, no. Yeah. The flag just shifts. The flag just becomes just invisible in the background. No. Let's do It is not the time to do so. It is not the time. King. King. There you go. So, question. Would y'all want... Let's say, for instance, we do ask, and then we do ask different ones. What if we did ask king, ask queen? Who else would y'all actually want to ask? There's the three troublemakers. The three brothers. There's them. I don't think Sylvester would want to talk at all, so that's a no. Big guy wouldn't talk. What he did ask king, who else? Oh, that is not correct. There we go. Boom. Is the better pizza box? It is not the time. He's like, true. No, that's accurate. So yeah, I'm thinking. Now what we could do is this. Because we have 15. We have 15 responses to king, right? So I'm thinking add group, random choice. We're going to put this under here. And then we're going to duplicate group. This one is random. Weight is, for now, 0.5. There you go. Should one of the answers be fuck you? Though I am not all seeing, I am certain. This I am certain of. Let's see. This new group, we're gonna call it King. And then this new group, we're gonna call it Queen. For now. And then this one, come on, where is it? This one's also random. Okay, good. Should I be one of the should one of the Twitch emotes be bald Mama Dodo King? Yeah, nope. Sorry. So here's what I'm thinking. Because King is he is refined in that aspect where he's like the lead by strength. I have the responsibility of leading my people, etc. That kind of like mentality, which is why he talks like this, right? Queen, on the other hand, is not so refined. So we're gonna do like first thing, sure, Queen. Let's see here. Also, I think I want to give different ones like different ratios. You know what I mean? This is becoming so much bigger than it needs to be, but maybe it's the distraction that I need. I don't know. King is the type of person to use bad instead of using delirious like a normal person. What do you mean? What normal, in what situation would someone use the word delirious? Should I stream it? Should stream it right now? It is not the time. It's true. It's true. It is not the time. And besides, King can't make me do shit. He and I have an agreement. Don't get me wrong. There's a give and take here. He can't make me do shit. Alright, so. Let's see. Really? I don't use the word delirious. Almost. In what context? I mean, I know the definition of delirious. You shouldn't be using that all the time. Delirious is, you know, are you Kinger from the main? You are not ready for the answer. No, this is pretty fun. This is really funny. Yeah, let's keep building this out. This is good. Just, oh gosh, Foxy, I still find it hilarious where it's just like, are you listening to me? Ignores you. It was so funny to me. It was so perfect. Does everyone use delirious into bad? You are not ready for the answer. Apparently you're not ready for either answer, Foxy. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Sure. What else would Queen say? Why not? Fuck yeah. Queen curses. Let's see here. King. Let's see here. We're gonna save this as song suggestions, and the new one just to keep for me to keep track of stuff. Is it more than 24 hours? Am I gonna be ready in 5 minutes or less? It is not the time. How is it clocking things that you're saying? Like, it's actually kind of uncanny the way it's responding to you. It's like weirdly, you know? It's like it's noticing things. Ooh, spooky. I have a haunted redeem. Ooh. You can speak to the spirits. Ask the questions. Are you actually listening to me? Indeed. Holy shit. Yeah, should I be making the ask on a Luigi board? That would be kind of funny. I feel like talking to a Luigi board. No, you can say Luigi board. That's what everyone calls it. Would that be a fun thing for us to do for Halloween? If I made a Luigi board, like a Paleomancer Luigi board. You know, it's Ouija, but who cares? And then y'all can ask questions like this, and then it will give you response. He's right. He's right. It is not the time. That one was a little less. Let's see here. So for King, it was 6 positives, right? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then it is 1, 2, 3, 4 neutral, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. That's King's distribution. Is it the toad board the right answer? Oh, he said he'll do your homework for you. The King, that's all you, my guy. Okay, so King is 6'4", 5", which is about even. That sounds about right. But like he doesn't take neutral stances. Well, actually, I think there should be more neutral stances for King. He doesn't really bend a whole lot. But I like where it's at now. I'll mess with it later. So Queen, I'm thinking Queen should be kind of like, I like the 6'4", 5" ratio. We'll do 4 positive, 5 neutral, 6 negative. Queen has a temper. Queen has a temper. So it's a lot more. It's a lot more. In that case, I would want King to be. King's a lot more neutral than positive. It's fine. We'll do that one for now. Okay, so sure, why not? Fuck yeah. I still don't understand the 6'7" meme nonsense, Foxy. Let's see here. Queen, we have sure, why not? Fuck yeah. And what would it be? 6'9" is a way funnier number. That's true. I think he's just ignoring you now. Though I am not all saying this, I'm certain of. Yeah, he's talking to you. He is correct. He is talking to you. Have you even listened to me anywhere? Oh, this time Queen's responding. Managed to get that one. Sure, why not? Fuck yeah. And why ask? Just do it. Okay. So now we go into neutral. King. It's like, oh well, there was a brief moment. That was a brief moment of Queen there. Let's see. Safe bet. We'll do. The bot ate that one. Oh, I'm definitely gonna name the bot Sylvester, by the way. Sylvester's gonna be our bot. Or not the bot in the sense of Paleomancer's Dodo is. In the sense of like the actual like auto mod. Yeah, I want to talk to Queen. You are not ready for the answer. Okay, neutral ignores you. 100% Queen would. Queen would ignore you. 100%. No. Sylvester like the cat. So Idealist has essentially like 3 main summons, made in big quotations. You have Mama Dodo. You have Sylvester, which is a Hydra cat, which is like a litter of saber-toothed tiger cubs in one body. And then you have Big Guy, who's like the brother that he grew up with, which was a sauropod. These are like, they'll become a lot more obvious once once I start making their models and implement them more into stream. But for now, know that Sylvester is a frequent. I think Sylvester is the first summon that you get to see in any of the videos that I'm making. I think Queen is actually the second, but that's because I want to implement stuff, so I'm adding her early. So here's the question. Do you want separate asks for separate people? Or do you want one ask and it just happens to be random between people? Because right now we're working on Queen, so it's still going to take a hot second. So I'm thinking ask, and then it's random between different characters that y'all know about. Separation? Okay. Okay, in that case, what I will do is we're going to go back to commands. Ask king. Ask king. But make a special one that includes every single character in the lore. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I think, yeah. So I think what we're gonna do, just ask is random. It's anybody. Ask is anybody can answer, but you can ask specific people or specific characters by doing ask space their name. So ask king, ask queen, ask three brothers. Like it, maybe troublesome trio. Is that how I named them? Their character's still very much in development, so I haven't really figured out their names exactly. But they're also a group of characters that I would want people to really fall in love with as well. So we'll stick with this one for now, and then we'll separate them out. All right. Okay. We're gonna do a quick ad break, and then we'll be back. We'll be continuing on this. This is pretty fun. So let's keep on messing with this, and let's come up with some kind of fun alternatives for it. See y'all in a second. Makes their own stream API. And get distracted by making new redeems. There we go. Oh man. So let's see here. I'm unsure. Let's see. Ignores you. What would also be a neutral thing Queen would do? It's also good practice on my end to explore the idea of like, oh, how would this character respond? Because then it really flushes out that character. You know what I mean? All right, let's see here. We're gonna go ahead and do that real quick because I saw that I got another thing. Ah, it's fine. It's fine. All right, nothing crazy. In that case, who's talking to our Discord? Oh, just Balt. That's funny. Everyone's loving the Bald thing. Ah! This belongs in spooky memes. Too scary. Games to play. Starts in time. God. think part of it is I haven't eaten today. I think part of it is I didn't sleep well. And I think part of it is just recovery from trying so hard and getting everything done here. And I've just had a lot on my mind lately. I think that's also part of the reason why I'm tired. Oh, gosh. But it does not matter because we're back, baby. Let's go. All right, let's see. We're gonna go boop. Okay, so as I was kind of talking about it during the break, I like this. This allows me to really kind of not really flush out, but partially flush out certain characters and how they would react with certain questions, etc. So like Queen is, I guess a good equivalent would be like rebellious, like punk vibes kind of deal, like rude, quick to anger, quick to violence. But let's do this. Let's do, instead of just ignores you, we'll do sharpens claws. That's a neutral. Why ask? Just do it. Fuck yeah. Why not? Sure. What else would be a neutral thing for her? Neutral thing for that she would do. Snores softly. She would be asleep. What else would she do? I don't know. She... a part of me wants to put whatever floats your boat, but that feels more positive than neutral. Plus, I don't think she would know what a boat is. Actually, knowing her lore, I think she would be upset to know what a boat is. What would be good? What would be a good neutral for like an aggressive person to have? Like a very aggressive, very quick to violence. Just looks at you. Sharpens claws. That just looks at you. There's a lot of non-speaking for the neutrals, but I think that works for her. I'm not going to go down the route of, like, she kills you. I think that's taking it a little too far. We'll do... Oh, gosh, man. I apologize. I apologize for all the yawning and stuff like that today. Again, I'm just... not... I'm doing what I can. Not ready for the answer. It would be something... not... He wouldn't do... She wouldn't do things similar to like what King would do. It would be... A part of me wants to go down the route a little more in the rebelliousness. What if instead we do... Something along the lines of like, to stay silent is to let the strong win. To let the to stay silent is to allow something. To stay silent. But that doesn't, like, that's a good saying, but that doesn't, that's not an answer, that's not a yes or no question, right? So we have, it is certain, it is decidedly so, without a doubt. We could just do yawns. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more neutral. So the neutral in this case for Queen would be, we have sharpens claws, snores softly, looks at you, yawns. No clue. Queen. Clue. Queen. There we go. Oh, leave me alone. That one's really good. Leave me alone. That is something that she would say, but that would be problematic. That's not very, that kind of sucks as a response for someone to be like, oh, I like this little ash thing, I wonder what it is, and then the first response is leave me alone. It's like, oh, okay, I won't ever do that again. Yeah, that's funny. I would say this is the first negative. This first negative would be, don't ask me that again. Oh, well, that's something that King would say. Stop speaking. Oh gosh, all of her negatives are gonna be harsh though. Frantic cursing. You can do that one. I don't know. I'm trying to think of things where it's like it would be accurate for her to say, but wouldn't be like absolutely just, it would suck if she responded that way, you know? It wouldn't be a good interaction or a fun interaction, you know? I want to make the interactions fun. No way. My sources say no. It's like, damn it. Like I'm thinking of really good ones, like, what are you, stupid? Like that kind of things that she would say. But again, again, that would just be mean. I can't think of things that are negative that aren't just mean that would be accurate, because she is mean. What are you? Stupid? Queen. Maybe mean is part of the charm. Ask me that again and see what happens. Let's see here. What was the other ones that I was thinking of? We definitely don't want to do violence or threaten of violence. That's taking it too far. Be glad that you are ethereal. Yeah. AKA, she is essentially threatening you. It's like, be glad that I can't hurt you right now. Let's do you mind? And then we'll do this one. And we'll do this one as... I already have no clue. Probably not. That is not... Probably not. Queen. Alright. So now we got king and queen. We have ask. Boop. Boop. Can I have more than... Ask. Can you say anything but no? Why was it no 3 times in a row? I'm so confused. Why was it no 3 times in a row? Is it because it was so quick? Maybe because it was so quick. Hard to say. All right, queen. A part of me wants to do the siblings, but to be honest, I don't know the siblings well enough. Let's do duplicate 3 siblings. The troublesome trio. Let's do that. I know this one would be the troublesome trio. TT. We can make them the 6, 4, 5. No, that's king. We can do 5, 4, 6. How many different ratios can we have with this? 6, 5, 4. I'm not sure. I mean, we can also skew it in different directions. It doesn't have to be 6, 5, and a 4. Because at the very least, the Magic 8 Ball 10 were affirmative. Like half of it would be yes. But we're not doing that. Technically, it's... I don't even know. What you know, it would be 30%? No. No, it would be about, it's over 1/3 for king. Whatever. My brain, I was just like, how am I gonna break this down? Let's see. We will do Troublesome Trio. I know I want neutral. Pay up, then we'll talk. Like, the way that the Troublesome Trio is. So for those that have no idea what I'm talking about, the Troublesome Trio are 3 siblings. And you have the oldest, the middle, and the youngest. The oldest is the brains of the group. They are the ones that make the plan, call the shots, etc. Then you have the middle that is kind of like the wild card. They're the ones that kind of go off the rails and just enjoy the chaos of it all. And then the youngest is like huge, just like this giant hulking, just big body, right? And they are all of Hyena-Day. They are hyena precursor, right? They're prehistoric hyenas. And as far as their kind of like personality overall, you could think of them as like mercenaries, right? They're rough around the edges, mercenaries, doesn't do anything for free. But as long as they're being paid appropriately, they'll see it through to the end. And their essential goal is not goal, but essentially their role is search and destroy. Their whole subsect group that they're in charge of is search and destroy missions. So they need to search somebody and then take them out, right? So it's like, so pay up and then we'll talk is definitely head of the trio. But any positives that they would say would probably, I would probably say that the positives will probably come from the youngest to a certain degree, or for mostly actually. And it's, if you're yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, I had a moment where I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to be doing right now. But I don't know what I want to be doing right now because I kind of lost the plot a bit. So part of me is just like, okay, well, if I'm not feeling very, Cody today, then what do I feel like doing today? Or do we just want to call it early? It's been a hot minute since we've had to do like an early stream. Right? So part of me is just like, we could do Power Watch Sim, we could do all this kind of stuff. But I don't I don't think there's anything that's really pulling me right now. Oh, what's this? Watcher 1.5. Okay. Constant update. Arena mode support for the Watcher. New unlockables in the arena mode has been found. Jolly co-op support for the Watcher campaign. Retroactive Jolly co-op support for all 5 of the more selected campaigns. New regions, several new creatures, new endings. Final chapter of the Watcher is here. Okay. Okay. Rain World got an update. That's pretty cool. Maybe we could play some of that next time. I think we'll call it early. Because I'm going through this and I'm seeing what tickles my fancy. I think I'm just tired. I think we're just going to call it early unless y'all want to do something specific. But at least from I am looking at here, it doesn't seem that either people are here or people are just lurking, which is fine. Again, we celebrate lurkers here. But if there's any input that y'all have, I'm definitely open to it as of right now if there's anything specific that y'all want to do. Because otherwise, if not, we might just call it. We might just call it. One of the things that I will probably end up doing is I was planning to take a little bit of a break because I'm trying to figure out a schedule that works for me. I'm trying to, like, it's been a hot minute since, you know, the whole mental health stuff really put me behind on things, and I want to get started back on things, but I want to get a schedule that works. So I think what I'm gonna do is I might take a week off, but I'll make an announcement on the Discord. If you're not part of it, the Discord, you're more than welcome. You know, that's where I put most of my announcements when I do most of my updates there. !Discord to find it, or you can find it in the bio. And yeah, no, I think I need a little bit of time, or at least a little bit of a break to get everything ready, especially with October going to be as busy as it's going to be. Like, not only do I have stuff going on personal life wise, but I also, because I'm going to be taking care of some stuff, I'm also going to be, like, I have something exciting for y'all during October that I'm excited to do, and then as well as a 24-hour stream. So, like, doing a week off to then, like, be extra pumped for that sounds like a good idea. But I'll make an announcement on there, as well as on my socials and stuff like that, too. I should probably also do as well. Now there may be like a random collab stream here and there, but nothing planned on our usual around. Right? Okay. Well, thank you all for joining me here today. I apologize that it's a quick one. I apologize it was kind of low energy, low focus, but I hope you still had a good time. And I hope you really enjoyed the costume and interaction that I made for Arctic eggs that you are seeing right now. Hey, Growly, how you doing? How you doing, my guy? Hopefully well. Must have to catch up while you stream. Got you. I was actually playing the other day, trying to catch up as well to get to the level of the new Final Fantasy stuff they've been adding. How long have you been taking like a break of it? I don't want to die to one shot. Exactly. In a few months. Yeah, same. I was gonna say I haven't played since Bubble Boy. So it's been a hot minute for me. So we've been trying to catch up with that. Unfortunately, Growly, you caught me right when I was about to end stream early. Because I don't know, today I'm just tired. I'm just tired today. Yeah, no, but thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I'm gonna rest. I'm probably gonna have a few announcements here and there, so feel free to see that on Discord or any of the socials or whatever. But good luck on your grind for your Monster Hunter, and let me know when you kill the big bad. All right? Because it's apparently a grind to get to a level to beat it. Oh yeah. But yeah, thank you all for joining me here today. Again, I apologize for a quick stream, but you know, I want to be extra pumped for all the October shenanigans that we're gonna be doing. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, and I'll see y'all next time. All right, take care. See you, everyone. Bye-bye. Oh, wrong one. Oh, well, there, awkward.